Yep. Is that what you look in the mirror all day?
That's what I do. I do this.
I I don't think you're lying.
I'm not lying.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
not.
All right, we're back.
Welcome in to the
Well,
show.
back-to-back weeks. Look at us.
Back to back weeks. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Episode 85, the Kembrell Tompkins episode,
Shout out Kembrell
the
Tompkins.
Noah
Shout
Brown
out
episode,
one Chad Johnson.
Chad Johnson episode. He's
Yeah.
awesome. He's having a big post career. I like you so much more than I liked you when you were playing.
Yes. Yep.
Super
Yeah.
awesome.
I also. Well. Yeah. He's just funny.
He's just funny. So funny.
He's just such a
Hilarious.
good.
He has
Plus
like
him
the
now with
mind.
Belichick is amazing.
Yes, coach. Yes,
Yes,
coach.
coach.
So
I
good.
know.
He
So
has
good.
like the brain of like a 16-year-old football player. I feel
Yep.
like it's
And he feeds himself like a 16-year-old as well.
McDonald's only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Episode 85. The Cavs just lost their first game of the year to the Celtics in Boston. We got what else we got? Some Patriots stuff.
Yeah.
I wrote down Red Sox update. There's really not much
Cool.
other than the Juan Soto meeting, and
Yep.
then just some other random shit. Best player in the NFL? Question mark.
Jim Montgomery fired, by the way.
Yeah, we're gonna get into. We should have asked Gase that question.
What about it?
The whatever. We'll get into it later.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't write anything down for this TNT and ESPN trade.
Yeah, I have some thoughts, I guess.
Okay, cool. First, I'm assuming you have some superhero news for me.
Oh, if you want to get it out of the way now, sure.
Well, that's usually we start with it, don't we?
True. This is what I have. Silver Surfer's a woman. I forget.
What?
I don't know anything about her comics wise. I think it's a really stupid decision that Marvel.
I have a guess.
Please.
She's metallically silver.
Yeah, no, I think so, but it's like, nah, not okay. Here's the thing. It's like I don't want to be like I hate women because I
Well,
think
it's how you're coming off.
okay. I'm not anti-women superheroes. Women superheroes are awesome. They're automatically less awesome if it's just the female version of a male superhero.
Yeah,
Take-
yeah,
just Black Widow, awesome. Everyone loved her.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Wonder Woman, everyone loves Wonder Woman. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it is worse, harder to watch when they like
Yeah,
it's forced upon you.
exact. She-Hulk,
Yeah.
everyone hates She-Hulk because they did it really poorly, and that's the fear. Another thing with Silver Surfer, he is an absurdly popular character, so popular,
Mhm.
like very very popular. And his whole thing is he's like a lonely guy, like just traveling the universe.
Yeah.
Like a lonely girl traveling the universe, like that's just not the same vibe as like a lonely guy. Like he's all he's like compared to like Kurt Cobain. Like that's his whole vibe, like
Okay.
Nirvana, like that type of shit. It's like,
Nirvana.
am I gonna get that with a girl? Like, I don't know. It's like some things are just kind of dude specific. I feel like just like
Girls
you know
can't
what
be lonely.
I don't know. I don't know if they can. You know, like it's just him. Like he does that thing where he just chills on his surfboard and just stares at the earth, and he's like, "Fuck." It's like, is a girl gonna do that? Like, I don't know. It just seems like a dude thing.
I don't know if that part makes sense to me. I think girls can be lonely for sure.
Yeah, but it's not as cool when girls are lonely.
Girls can't reflect about life.
No, they can, but it's like the Batman vibe, you know?
I was just thinking, imagine a guy played like a girl. Like imagine a guy came out as and played Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it'd be weird.
It'd be like, what the hell?
Wonder Man. Guess
I hate
what?
when they just force it on you. Like I'm totally again pro like
Yeah.
all these women superheroes. All
That's the problem.
I'm
You're
pro
like
all
starting
women.
off negative, you know?
But it's like that scene in Endgame when they're or Endgame. I don't know which one it is. Infinity War. They're all fighting and they're like,
Endgame. It's Endgame.
"Let's unite,
So
women.
stupid.
Let's all fight together because we're
You know the
strong women."
Mathematical odds of that massive battlefield, all of the woman characters being in the same 10-foot square radius. It's like,
And also, they're all badasses. Like, just kill people, but don't make it a point that they're all fighting together because they're women. Just fight. Just
it
kill
makes
the
it
bad.
worse. And like the
Yeah.
problem is that like Star Wars had with Rey was they were like, she's a woman, she's just going to be good at everything all of a sudden. And it's like she's this powerful woman. It's like I don't care that she's a woman. I care that she's like being forced upon us and like immediately powerful all the time.
Yeah,
I
it's
wouldn't
cool.
like
It's
it.
cool that she's sick as hell, but don't make emphasis out of it.
Yeah. No. So
We should probably cut this.
No. I stand by it.
All right.
Stand
I feel like I said
by it.
something bad, but if you're fine with
No.
it, then I mean,
No, I stand by it. I'd love to have this discussion because I no one's a bigger Black Widow fan than me. No one's a bigger Wonder Woman fan than me. It's just a bad move. By the way, Fantastic Four is going to feature an extremely prominent woman character already in Sue Storm. It's like, what are we doing? But regardless, there's also a lot hinging on that movie in terms of the future of Marvel because that's such a massive franchise. So I worry. Last bit of superhero news.
Okay.
Leading into a theory.
Theory.
The Green Lantern series is in development. You are out on Green Lantern for reasons that I actually kind of agree with because it's like we haven't really seen like an awesome live action adaptation of that. And is it possible to make a guy with a massive animated green ring look cool live action? Like maybe that just isn't possible.
Yeah.
As cool as he is like in animated shows and in the comics, I kind of agree. Well, I've been letting you know that they've been casting that. They cast 2 really awesome actors. I'm really excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn, who went on an interview, CEO of DC, said that they're making that series like insanely grounded and gritty and in reality. And it's like a detective show. And it's like the most realistic take that you could possibly have. And I'm like,
okay.
First of all, love it. Second of all,
but he has a magic space ring?
That's the thing. No fucking idea how that'll work. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Second of all, this leads into my theory that I've been hinting at, is that, especially coming off the success of The Penguin, I really think that before the next Batman film is released, James Gunn is going to announce that Robert Pattinson's Batman is the DCU Batman. I just think there's no way around it. Like, there's just no way around it. And I think it's eventually he's going to wear down Matt Reeves, and he's going to convince Matt Reeves that his universe is gritty enough for Robert Pattinson's take. Like, that's why I think they're going super gritty with the Green Lantern series. So that way, like, maybe the world of the Green Lanterns could exist in Robert Pattinson's Batman world. I don't know if it's going to be the right move, but I just don't see any other path, honestly. Like, there's no way you could, like, cast Glenn Powell as Batman tomorrow and people are going to, like, buy it when the Robert Pattinson Batman with the Penguin and everything's going on. So that's my theory.
My theory is, and I think I've said this before, like we just need a cleanse from superhero movies. Just give me like a 10-year break, come back to it.
Yes.
And then come back and just hit. We don't got to do them all. They're over. It's oversaturated.
Agree. That's why what they're doing with the Batman is annoying, but it's totally the right move. Like they're waiting so long for another Batman movie. And I'm like, yes, good idea.
I'm talking 20 years. I don't want to see a superhero movie till I'm 40.
Yeah, never happen. It'll never happen. It's too much of a banger. But I really think Marvel should have done that. Like Marvel should have just fucking stopped after Endgame or after the Spider-Man one. Just fucking stop for like 8 years.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for letting me do that.
You're welcome, man.
I need
charity.
Yeah, charity. It's where Quinn gives back to the community. All right, let's talk about sports now.
Let's talk about sports. The Celtics are awesome.
The
referees are not awesome.
Oh. Who's the referee team tonight?
Don't rush. I'll show you. I'll show you a picture.
Who could it have been?
I tweeted this.
Yeah. There he is.
There he is.
Yeah, refs were weird.
But the thing that sucks is that like there was definitely a lot of missed calls on the Celtics end, which like we were upset about. But there was a lot of Cavs fans upset online as well. So like that's just bad officiating.
Yep. No, it seemed just bad. At first, I was like, "Oh, I like this. They're just letting the boys play." And then I was like, "Well, that's a foul." Well, that's
and then they're calling soft fouls randomly.
Yeah,
it's either let the boys play or
100%.
That should be the only option. Don't blow the whistle all day.
Just don't blow the whistle ever.
Yeah,
there was a couple awesome moments in this game. They blew a lead. Well, they didn't actually ever technically blow the lead, but
dude. So go ahead. At halftime, I was like this Cavs team just doesn't have it. They're not like they won't be able to be better. Like they're just not better than us. No one can guard Tatum on their team, which is still true. No one can guard Jaylen Brown.
Yeah,
and we can guard Darius Garland. We can guard Mobley, and then I was like Donovan Mitchell's going to eat. Like he's Donovan Mitchell, but still at halftime, I think he had 13 points on 14 shots. So like our defensive front court, and then you had Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Like just no one's scoring on them. Like, you have good guards and good depth at guard position. We have better. Like, it's just better.
We're just better.
And that's what it was at halftime. And then the third quarter, Neemias Queta is the worst basketball player on planet Earth. Isaiah Mobley looks awesome. They're switching onto him nonstop. Donovan Mitchell is scoring at will.
Mobley's going to be the guy that if they're going against us, like, it's going to have to be Mobley, you know?
Yeah, but if Kristaps is back, I'm more confident.
True.
That's the whole thing with this game. We didn't have our, in theory, third best player.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, Mobley is going to have to be something. They shot so poorly in the first half that I was like, oh, we're just defensively that good. But obviously water finds its level, they're one of the best shooting teams in the league. Actually, I think they have like the best 3-point efficiency ever, something like that.
Cleveland?
Yeah, so far
Yeah.
through the first 17 games or whatever it is, 16 games.
Yep.
And then we pulled through. I don't know. What is your? Do you have any
I just had
What do you got?
well, first of all, with the Cleveland point, like it takes me back to, and this can parlay into your little point you want to make in a little bit, but Kenny Atkinson, like, was the head coach of that Brooklyn team that was awesome with no one on their team, like D'Angelo Russell and Karis LeVert. Then Kyrie and KD decide they don't want him there, and he gets fired. And who does he? He goes and just hangs out in Golden State for like 3 years. You know, not a bad place to be. Was going to be the Charlotte coach, backed out of that, went back to Golden State. What a shock! He's really awesome, and these also.
And all of a sudden, the 6 players on the Cavs are shooting career highs from deep.
Shocker! Yeah, what a shock! They are just so much better, the Cavs, than they were last year. Which is interesting because they weren't bad last year. They were good. And just
and I mean, teams get super hot, and also they're healthy
Yeah.
now. They were super banged up last year.
Yeah. Like just comparatively to what I watched them in that playoff series last year versus now, I'm like, ooh, okay, they're really good. My awesome moments were like Pritchard winning that tip. So awesome.
Awesome. Pritchard hitting that 3.
That 3, so sick. Horford, those 2 blocks with like 4:30-ish left.
Back to back, kind of.
Back to back. So sick. JB with that crazy acrobatic
layup.
Sealer. Another thing that our friend Stan Van Gundy mentioned, that buzzer beater that Cleveland hit, meaningless, potentially not so meaningless, because point differential in the NBA Cup matters.
Right. I wanted to talk to you about that. If you're in the locker room, what do you think Joe Mazzulla is hyping the boys up about? Because I had some notes on like what he's using for motivation. I mean, to me, it's that the Cavs are undefeated coming into Boston.
To that point, I think this could have totally been like a weaker-minded Celtics team, maybe whatever. I know they just won the chip, but like, is totally a spot for them to get steamrolled. You know, maybe it's like oh, like, you know, we should be the guys, but it's like still it's fucking November. We just won the chip, you know. And so I love that whatever he said worked, because they were like, no, like, we take this seriously. I know it's just a Tuesday in November, but they're coming into our court. They're running the East right now. Like, no, bro, like we run the East still. And the
Celtics also just lost to the Nets. So it's like, I think Joe was like, you guys are playing, but I don't think the NBA Cup is a motivating factor for Joe Mazzulla. Because I think in the pregame or something, they asked him and he's just like, what motivates you? And he just said winning. Like, every game he just wants to win. So I think, you know, getting the NBA Cup chip and all the extra money, what it comes with it, like, I don't think he cares about that.
I don't think so
particularly.
Either.
I think if it happened because they won, he would be fine with it.
Yeah,
but I think
they're just because he would be like, I don't care about this.
It might be like the Jimmy Butler Eastern Conference Final championship.
I think it'd be, honestly, the NBA really does not want the Celtics to win the in-season cup. They would so much rather like the Pacers win it.
Well, yeah, obviously, yeah, because it'd just be
Well, they just care more, and the Celtics would be like, this is meaningless, which it is. But the fun joke is that like it isn't meaningless, and that's what we need to convince ourselves of.
I mean, I get the fun part to it, and it ended up being awesome last year. So
and yes, true, and also just tonight in general, you made a note about ratings. If you'd want, like, we can get into that.
Yeah.
This game, fucking massive win for the NBA. It was getting billed all week. It's been getting billed all weekend as this big game, and it's again Tuesday in November. Yes, it's an in-season tournament game, NBA Cup game, but like, you know, 15 undefeated Cavs, and it was awesome. It was awesome. The game
was great.
Awesome.
It delivered. So I think viewership has been in the tank because it's just impossible to watch games now.
Agree.
Like, just put all the games on TV. Not all of them, but like, make League Pass super cheap. Make it easier, or else people are just going to illegally stream it. Like, you have no.
Yep.
If you just make it cheap and accessible, like majority of the games, like every Celtics game should be on national TV.
This is a crazy comp.
Just buy like 2 more TV channels, because who gives a shit? Put them on Max. Put them on anything, because like, why does it?
Put them all in one place, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever. Just show them all.
Yeah,
because people will watch them, and then you're getting more money that way.
Yes. We talked
and more attention instead of people on Stream East. It's also like, I think a lot of people would say it goes back to the quality of the games not being as good, because like people are just foul baiting, humming threes. Like, the defense, like offensive efficiency, is super high right now just because of the way the game is.
Yeah, I don't even know if I buy that. I buy the first point way more.
I would too, but I could see that if like I would never tune into a fucking like Hornets Wizards game, but
Yeah, I probably wouldn't either. But I'm at least like comparatively to like 10 years ago. Like remember those Philly teams? Like remember there were some unwatchable teams. Now it's like, dude, LaMelo Ball is awesome. Wemby's awesome. The
yeah.
Wizards are like fun sometimes, which is
I mean, if
crazy.
there was a decent draft class this year, the Wizards would have a stud, and then you could watch that. Like it
Yeah,
would be like the Spurs last year, like Wemby.
exactly. Whoever Cooper goes to. But this is a crazy comparison. But we were talking about it over the weekend when we were together. But like a massive reason why Fortnite blew up the way it did and was the
Is that it's
biggest game in
free.
the world for 4 years is because it was free. Everyone could just get it,
Yeah,
and it's
and they
so
made so much
everyone
money.
played it, and they made so much money. They were the biggest game in the world, and
I
like
think
I
if
know
you're
that
any sports company or like NBA Sports League, if you sacrifice a little money now with your TV deals and everything, you will end up making more in the long run because it'll
I
get more
agree.
attention, it'll get more views. Like that's just I think how it would work.
I agree, dude, and
Although I'm
like
sure there's smarter people trying to figure this stuff out.
well, it's just the bottom line. Like it's just people looking at the bottom line. It's like we're gonna lose money next year, and it's like yeah, but I think you'd make it up in everything else.
It's also tough because it's so easy to access highlights on social media now.
Yeah. Well, that's why the NBA wins is absolutely social media.
Yeah.
I think a lot
What
of my
about the fact that the games just don't fucking matter? That's why no one watches baseball. Not as many people watch hockey,
that's
and
why it's a
everyone watches
huge
the NFL and college football.
yeah, that's why tonight was a huge win because
A huge win, but like if we
doesn't matter,
lost,
but it was good.
it
Yeah,
wouldn't matter at all.
I know. No, that's a
Maybe
tricky.
less playoff teams. Maybe instead of having literal 10 team make the playoffs and only
I would say
6 teams miss.
I'm always just like less games, but
Yeah, I mean, cut the season to 70, less injuries. I mean, there's also like stars sit out every other night. There's a lot of problems with the NBA.
there is, and it's weird because I'm like, there's certain ways where it's the best it's been in 10 years, but then there's other ways where there's a lot of problems. So
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of old like basketball highlights. Pretty much all Steve Nash. I've just been on a Steve Nash kick the last couple of days. But those
love it.
games are like random games like Jason Kidd versus Steve Nash, and like it's just
Just
electric.
sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Interesting. There's definitely going to be some changes coming, I think, to the NBA. Anything else Celtics wise? Jason Tatum. I mean, Tatum's
I
on
mean,
a Tatum feels on a different level, which is crazy because I don't know. Like he was as good as he was last year. He feels on a different level again.
no, it's just his shooting is he's just shooting the ball well right now.
Way better.
It could be the new jumper everyone's talking about. I also was the thing I kind of skipped over earlier is the Cavs are probably the second best team in the East. I don't think they have anyone to guard Jason Tatum. Like Georges
It would be
Niang.
Okoro who didn't play, but I don't know.
Okay, Okoro. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but
still, he's not as big and physical as Tatum
no.
is.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I'd be intrigued to see that matchup because I think Tatum would like he'd be 5% less successful at doing the stuff he did tonight, where he just like bulldozed his way into the
Yeah.
paint, which I love.
But then that also leaves like Darius Garland on Derek White.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah.
Good luck there.
Yeah.
Which yeah, Derek White had a great game. So yeah, that's all I got. Celts land.
Yeah, me too. All right, what else we got? You want to do rest of the Boston sports stuff?
Yeah, let's.
So the
Patriots, Bruins.
We have a new head coach in Boston.
Joe Sacco, not so new, been with the program since 2014, but yes,
I said new
yeah,
head coach.
yeah, new head coach.
So fucking give me a break, dude.
Well, I was excited because I was like, oh, maybe this is a new guy. The way they were talking about, because they were like, over the summer, allegedly, it was like kind of a handshake deal where it's like they gave Sacco a lot more power on the bench, and they were like, hey, you're going to be the guy because Monty's got such a short leash. And so I just assumed like, oh, he must have been like kind of a new guy then. No, he's been there since 2014. He's been there for
Yeah.
11 seasons. So
It feels kind of sneaky. I don't want to say it, but like dumpster fiery right now.
100%. 100%.
Which
I mean,
sucks.
the season, what's on the ice is a dumpster fire.
And I mean, the offseason, we couldn't re-sign Swayman, and then
And then we did, and now he sucks.
he sucks. And now, what are we, 20 games into the season, and we already got rid of our coach.
We were 8-9-3. We got smoked by the Blue Jackets the last game. That's what getting smoked by the Blue Jackets will typically lead to your coach getting fired.
Okay.
We have, I mean, again, you brought up the offseason. We signed Lindholm, and that's our second Lindholm, and he was billed as like a poor man's ish version of Patrice Bergeron. It hasn't been anything close to that. Um, I have some thoughts on the Bruins as an
Go ahead.
organization.
Go ahead.
First of all, I don't know if you've seen like the numbers. They're kind of tough. Like Jim Montgomery, since getting hired in 2022, was a mere 120 and 41 in 23. Like easily number one in the league since
Wow.
2022. Easily.
Wow.
The next closest is Carolina. They're 13 points less than us. So it's like, are we sure? Like, I don't know. Most wins, most regular season wins, and the highest winning percentage in that time. See ya.
Do you think
Um,
something must have happened then? Because there's no
I
way.
well, so last night he got into a huge argument with Marshawn on the bench, and Marshawn like pointed to his captain's badge, and
Mm,
then Monty was out. In terms of the something that had to have happened thing, I really think that the two last playoff losses that we had were so
yeah.
demoralizing in
Yeah.
different ways that like you just can't get over that sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like it's like if the Pats lost in '07 and then but it was like Belichick's first year. Like it's hard to compare. But
Yeah. It is.
because
Football's
and
different.
then if they came back and like were pretty good again and then they just got smoked. Like it's like, oh, it's
Yeah.
so demoralizing that I think that's just in a locker room and in terms of this is what I always said with Monty is like I never trusted him in the big moments. Like I loved him in the regular season, I loved him as a guy, I loved him at the podium, but him as a like mentality guy, like dig deep, like go fucking crush these guys right now. Like I
Doesn't
just
have
didn't
it.
buy it because I never saw it, and so I feel like that's where it kind of started to break down a little. So I'm not even anti firing Monty. I'm just saying these are the numbers. And also, Bruce Cassidy was like the third winningest coach in the league. The year you fire him, he goes and wins a cup in Las Vegas. Like Jim
Mm,
Montgomery's gonna. If I'm any team that needs a head coach, I am hiring Jim Montgomery right now.
right now.
Like
Yeah.
so
Right
it's just
away.
gonna suck when he's like really good elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Seems to be a thing in Boston.
yeah, and I think everyone's talking about Cam Neely and Don Sweeney being the real issues, the root of the problem. I
Hmm.
agree. I think both things can be true. Montgomery needed to go, and so does Cam Neely and Don Sweeney. Like Cam Neely has been the president since 2010. And the real root is our roster just isn't good enough because we just haven't drafted good enough. We've just a bunch of dudes that are like fine, and the moves just haven't been good. We had 3 consecutive picks in 2015. The best version of them was the best one of those picks was Jake DeBrusk. He's not even on the team anymore. And there was 5 All-Stars that got picked after 3 in a row after those picks. So it's like
Yeah.
it's just and it's those mistakes over and over and over again where it's like I think you needed a new voice in the locker room, and I think you need a complete new voice in the front office. Your dad once made the point that like we were talking about Cam Neely last year, who like yes is the third best Bruin of all time. Like he's a fucking legend. He's awesome. Didn't go to college, you know? Like so it's like, I don't know, like can we get a nerd? I wouldn't mind a nerd. Let's get a nerd in the building. Like, I don't know. That's where I'm at with Montgomery.
Okay. So maybe we get a little. I mean, not interim head coach, but just new head coach bump, new locker room
Maybe.
vibes.
That'd be
Maybe
awesome. That'd be awesome. We'll see. Well, now we're gonna know what we have, I think, too.
something to rally around. Hopefully.
Yeah. And hockey is the most just vibe sport ever. Like if your team just loves each other, they're gonna win like every game.
Yeah, I know.
So
Hopefully, the power of friendship. Hopefully, the guys actually like Sacco. I don't. What's his first name?
Joe
Joe Sacco.
played for him.
Um, instead of him just like being hired because he's the next man up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll
Hopefully, that's
see.
not what it is, and hopefully, people actually wanted him.
Yeah, it just seems like treading water right now in that organization.
Okay,
I need a
cool.
fresh slate. I'll buy the team.
That's good.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
take it.
All right. Well,
Dark colors.
there's more important sports. Some would argue.
Okay, sure.
Like that's my transition to Drake May being awesome at football.
Yeah, yeah.
Lost again.
Now
What
I have
I would argue though, Drake May played the best possible game, including the interception at the end, because he played 99% of the game perfect, and then threw a pick to lose the game, which gives us a better draft pick.
yeah, I'll take that. You kidding me? I'll take that every day. It
I would
was
take that all day.
It was by far and backed up by numbers as well. The best first quarter I've seen a Patriots quarterback play since Brady.
Yeah.
and it was the first.
It was what, like 100 yards and a
A
touchdown, something?
Yeah, yeah, first time since Brady, which is like, wow,
Yeah.
okay, it's been some time. All of a sudden, I think Drake May is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And I'm not even just saying that. I actually put a lot of thought into it, and I looked at all the guys and I ranked them again. And yes, it's a little bit because I watch every single snap that Drake May plays.
Well, this is about the time that we were saying this about CJ Stroud last year.
This was also about the time we were saying this about Justin Herbert. And so it's like his rookie year when I say Justin Herbert just because I remember I just weirdly watched a bunch of Justin Herbert his rookie year, and he physically like is doing similar things. Like CJ Stroud just isn't the same like physical person that Drake May is. But yeah, I think he's top 10. I think he's 10 right now. I think he's like, you give me.
I mean, you could talk about the quarterbacks right now because people are hurt, people are underperforming. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy.
I mean, you're seeing some of these throws. Every week there's like an all 22 angle throw of him. And it's like, how do you do that? How many people can do that in the league? 4? Like
with
Jared
his top receivers being Kayshon Boutte and Hunter Henry.
I mean, and there was like literally 3 plays. There were blatant drops that would have been first downs last game. Things negated by stupid penalties on the offensive line. So I don't even think you like he's still doing this with like hands tied behind his back. It's insane. The stuff with the arm angle, like he's already doing this. And just seeing him behind the podium, he gave a little speech about his parents and how they taught him to be coachable. And he's like, I'll just do whatever anyone says. I'll just do whatever anyone says. And he's like, and then I hope in turn that gains me some respect with the locker room. I hope they respect me. And it's like, yeah, man, I bet they fucking do.
I feel like everyone loves him.
I feel like everyone loves him. So I couldn't be happier with him. And I legitimately think he's top 10.
He's 10th in completion percentage above expected. So he's making shit happen. Like,
yeah,
that's insane. And he's already 13th in total QBR with, again, a special needs guy for an offensive coordinator and a bunch of like handicapped people for receivers. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think so. What do I have to do to get Javon Baker on the field? On offense, not on special teams.
Also, did you see? Yes, I agree. But also, he did drop a ton of passes preseason.
Yeah.
What about the fact that he opening kickoff returned it like 40 yards to midfield, and then Gerard Mayo was like, he didn't really do well on kickoffs.
He said that, huh?
Yeah, he didn't do what we wanted on kickoffs. Yeah,
he needs to stop speaking. Why?
I know he's kind of.
It's so crazy because when his first press conference, we were like, "This is awesome." He talks all the time. He's so open. Stop it. Stop.
He really is polar opposite of Bill.
Polar opposite. And he's
just saying shit without thinking.
Why would he say that? I disagree. I thought he was great.
He also said that they had total control the whole time of the game. Okay. How about when Cooper Kupp was wide open for a 60-yard touchdown?
How about when you
feel in control?
How about when you played man and you decided not to put Christian Gonzalez on Cooper Kupp?
Like, he was literally guarding. What's their? Yeah,
DeMarcus Robinson.
I mean, I have the stats. He guarded like Puka for like 6 snaps and
everything was. I
have somewhere in Cooper Kupp for like 4, and he locked him up every single snap. And then they asked him about it, and Gonzo was like, "I just do what I'm told. Like I just guard what I'm told."
Like let's play press man. I don't need him to guard him every play, but maybe on the play we're playing press man. Is that like I don't know.
I know.
Literally,
I'm not one to judge how you run a defense, but
yeah, I know. He was so pumped when he saw like it was cover 0 with Cooper Kupp. He was like,
I know. Stafford's awesome. Stafford's a top. I don't know. He's up there. He's year after year, people sleep on him, and then it comes this time of the season, he makes a playoff run. And he's like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
He was dicing. Yeah, Drake's unreal. I mean,
what's your thoughts on like the Mayo stuff?
Well, I've thoughts about AVP because all of a sudden last game we're pulling stuff out, and I'm like, oh, maybe we have some creativity in this building.
One week it looks terrible, and then the next week it looks mediocre. So I'm like,
correct. I'm not making a decision on either of them yet. I'm not. My gut tells me that I'm out on Mayo. The thing is, like, look, okay, we have Mayo and Van Pelt next year, and we have a better roster. Like maybe there's a good receiver on the team, right? We'll leave it at that, broad. And we have Mayo and Van Pelt running that. Second year with them. Okay, cool. Or we have. Why can't I think of his fucking name?
Ben Johnson.
Or we have Ben Johnson running the team. It's like, who's going to be better? You know?
No, but there's no. There's no way Kraft fires him.
That's the thing. But it's like
It doesn't really matter. There's no way. We're not getting Ben Johnson. We're not
That's
getting
the
anyone.
thing,
We're keeping our guys. He wouldn't fire
Sucks.
anyone. Huh?
Sucks. It just sucks because it's like we're doing that math and like probably absolutely Ben Johnson's going to be the better answer. Ben Johnson's going to be
what's
awesome.
crazy? Ben Johnson, there's some part of my brain thinks Ben Johnson's going to fall into the Cincinnati Bengals organization and they're going to be insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
They're going to be so good. They're going to be so good. Could have been us.
No, but I mean, we talked about this before. If we're going to keep some parity in this, like we don't want a new coach, new offensive coordinator every single year with our young guys.
Yeah.
That's what's going on with the Bears is they keep not lining up their quarterbacks, and it doesn't work often when you're a shit team, rebuilding team. I'm fine with keeping them for another year. Like even AVP, if we get a better offensive line, commit to buying a couple receivers, drafting a couple receivers, we can be a decent team, make some playoff pushes. I don't know if we're like if Mayo's a Super Bowl winning coach, but you find out Drake May's the guy in the next 2 or 3 years, and then you realize Mayo is holding us back. AVP's holding us back, and then you get rid of them. I think to put him in a new system this year and with keep bringing in guys until it finally works. That's when you ruin a guy. I think.
I agree. I need more. I need more of a sample size probably with more of a different test group. You could say science.
Yeah, science.
Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Herbert, Stafford, C.J. Stroud, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Drake May.
Taysom Hill.
Oh, are we ranking football players?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. The best.
Who's the best? Who's the best football player in the NFL? I'm asking you. You're voting for Travis Hunter for Heisman. You tell me who's the best football player in the NFL.
I kind of have to think it's Taysom Hill.
Okay, Taysom Hill's a better football player than Patrick Mahomes. I'm editing a video of this and posting it.
Is Patrick Mahomes doing what Taysom Hill does on the defensive side of the ball? Is he running the ball like Taysom Hill does? I mean, I know he's not passing. The question is I don't know. It's breaking my brain. Because it's like
Taysom Hill is the first ever player with 100 rush yards, 50 receiving yards, 10 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns. He had 8 quarterback snaps, 7 snaps at running back, 9 snaps at tight end, 9 snaps at wide receiver, 11 snaps on the defense/special teams. In his career, he has 25 rushing touchdowns, 10 receiving touchdowns, and 10 passing touchdowns.
I mean, if we're talking about the best football player, football encapsulates the entire sport. It encapsulates offense, defense, and special teams. Patrick Mahomes is the best in the world at this one thing, better than anyone else is at any other thing. So that counts for something. But in my opinion, I think being good at this, and this, more of football, better, more filling up the football jar, that equals the best player in the NFL. That's why I think Taysom Hill is the best player in the NFL.
You know what's crazy, Matt?
What's that?
You just proved me right for my argument why in 2016 Russell Westbrook was better than Steph Curry. We're not going to go any further on it. You can't dispute it. We'll keep talking about Taysom Hill.
I'm talking about a different sport.
No, yeah, we are talking about a different sport, but you can't lie to yourself. That was the argument I was making. You're denying it then, and now you're proving the other side. We'll move on. I would love to go on Get Up and be like, hey, Nick Wright, Travis Hunter's awesome, huh? And he'd be like, yeah, he's Heisman. I was like, yeah, and Taysom Hill's better than Patrick Mahomes. And he would go insane.
Mm-hmm. He would go
It'd be
insane.
awesome.
He would lose his mind.
Dude, it's really tough to say. Because would you say Brock Holt was a better baseball player than David Ortiz because he played every position?
I know, but I think it's I don't know. It's more
the thing with Taysom Hill that's amazing.
Yeah.
He has done this with, I think, 3 different coaches.
3, yep.
So it's not like it was just a scheme thing. No. And you could say, oh, there's so many guys that are so good that could play any position, you know?
They don't. So
they don't. Taysom Hill's done this with 3 coaches.
He's absurd. He's absurd.
It's not like
He's
some
also
random
like
scheme at tight end and like
I also
special
like
teams.
I don't have the number in front of me, of course, but like he was hurt a lot this year, and like when he plays and is involved, they win like 80% of their games.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird that he does it. It clearly is a package thing because if you did it all
Yeah.
the time, maybe people would figure it out. But it is 3 or 4 times a year that he just has like 2 touchdowns.
And you forget, dude. I just like it like light bulb memory popped off. Like, remember that stretch where he was just their starting quarterback?
Yeah, and
Like,
they just ran it a ton, and he threw
yeah,
like 4
yeah.
touchdowns.
And they won
in
a couple of those games. And I was just like,
Yeah,
oh, what?
I know.
Ah,
He's awesome. He's
awesome.
a monster too. I love when he lowers the shoulder.
Massive.
He's a monster. And then he's just like returning kicks and like blocking field goals.
That's another one where people talk about him. They're like, "Oh, dude, I can't even." He's like, he is ridiculous. Like locker room coaches, like, "Oh, I've never seen a person like Taysom Hill." It's like, yeah,
He
no.
has more fantasy points than Kyle Pitts, who's actually having a good year. Like it's not just shitting on Kyle Pitts,
Right? Yeah,
which is kind of crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. So all right, Taysom Hill's better than Patrick Mahomes, better than
Football
T.J.
player.
Watt, Myles Garrett,
Football
CeeDee
player.
Lamb, huh?
It's the argument of how good you are at your position versus filling up the jar of football. You know, I don't know what's more important. Guys, I'd rather have. I'm not talking about that. That's not the argument. It's who's a better
100%. Yeah,
who's a better football
Derek
player.
White does it all.
Again, I don't know if all the sports you can make that argument as well.
You're telling me Derek White is not a better basketball player than like someone like Jalen Green who scores 25 points a game but can't do anything else?
No, that's a good point.
Derek White fills
But
the stat sheet.
But like Steph Curry is 1,000% a better basketball player than Derek White. You know, where it's like, is Mahomes better?
I would not
unique
say Steph Curry's 1,000% right now.
Okay, I would. Maybe not 1,000%, but yeah, I think football is just such a unique sport because you have the offense and defense. Baseball is probably similar. Baseball is probably the best.
I mean, that's why Shohei's the best because he can do both.
Yeah. Again, like pitching, and I think
the versatility really is an argument. That's why you could make so many arguments. LeBron's the best of all time. He's going to have the most points of all time, top 10 boards, top 10 top 10 assists.
Yeah. What was who was saying it? Somebody was saying it, but he was like,
it's kind of just what you value, you know?
Yeah. Somebody prominent today was saying, I think it was a coach, maybe a former coach, was saying we have like 3 rules in our locker room. You can't talk politics, you can't talk religion, and you can't talk Jordan versus LeBron. Those are the 3. It'll just get off the rails. Hey, by the way, Gruden on Barstool is just the best thing I've ever seen.
He's awesome.
Match made in heaven. That guy's great. I listened to so much of that interview, just him talking ball. How about
I watched a clip where they had him on the they do like a daily show. I think it's called The Yak.
Yeah.
Where they just sit and talk about random shit. And they brought him in and they were just bringing up random employees and being like, he was like, do a 7-step drop and then throw it to your left. And people were like, what the hell? It's just random dudes that just write blogs.
It's so awesome. Oh, it's so funny. Awesome. It's so sick. He gets his film delivered physically.
Really?
Yeah.
Still.
And they asked him about it and he was like, I can't really go into the details on that. So
okay.
But he's like, I pay a lot of money. He's like, oh, nothing's better. Like early Monday morning, my FedEx guy comes and drops off the big package of film. And Big Cat was like, what? He's like, you don't just, he's like, are you talking like current day? He's like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into that. I pay a lot of money for that service. It's like, that's a thing you can buy. That's awesome.
That's so sick.
He loads it up and he cuts it up. He watches everything. Yeah. It's nuts.
That's crazy.
So crazy.
What else did I have? I mean,
Red Sox. Yeah, what's going on? We're signing Juan Soto? You told me we were signing Juan Soto. What's happening?
No, it's just still he met with the Mets and allegedly the Mets talked
the Mets are going to give him $1 billion.
$1 billion, which the Red Sox, all the memes were like you can do that?
Yeah.
You can talk about money?
Yeah,
it's just the more teams that are taking meetings, it's like the Phillies, the Yankees again, the Dodgers. I mean, imagine a lineup of Mookie, Soto.
Why are the Dodgers even? What do they do? Like, why? Stop.
Shohei. Also, didn't you just have to offload Shohei's contract? How are you gonna?
That I don't know how this is happening. Everyone's just
Yeah.
getting their contract pushed back, which everyone's fine about. Apparently, I don't know.
But how could you? You shouldn't be able to do it another billion. You
Yeah,
know,
like
you just
are
can't.
they just hoping that like the world explodes by 2032? Because you guys are gonna have to pay like $5 billion.
That's what Wick Grossbeck did, and then he
Yeah.
realized the world didn't explode, and then his family was like, "Hey, man,
Hey, we're not gonna have Christmas gifts this year.
yeah."
Yeah.
No, I don't know. We'll see. It's still quiet on all
Okay.
fronts. Nick Pivetta declined his offer, so he's out this year.
I saw that.
I think,
Baseball free agency is a little different than like Juan Soto could be a free agent until like February.
yeah, or he could sign right now.
Right now. Yeah. Interesting how that works.
Yeah, the Cowboys have this stat is insane. I mean, obviously, you can talk about the roof falling off.
Yeah, dude. What are we doing? What are we doing? Everything about the Cowboys. Like, I don't even want to talk about. No, well, I'm excited to talk about this part of the Cowboys, but like, I don't even want to be like the whole Cowboys is bad thing because it's just so obvious, you know. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, their roof is physically that could have killed somebody twice.
Would you rather be the Cowboys or the Jets right now?
It was like 8.5 feet long. A fan of?
Yeah,
I'd rather be a fan of the Cowboys because I think they're going to get Dion and Shador.
right. I forgot.
And Jerry's
right.
old.
Have you won in the Cowboys Stadium in 2024? This is the question.
Okay.
This is the teams that have the Saints, the Ravens, the Lions, the Eagles, the Texans, Texas A&M football, USA Soccer, Canada Soccer, and Jake Paul.
Okay.
If you noticed, I didn't say the Cowboys. That's because they haven't won in 2024, which that includes the end of last year.
Yeah, that's a whole calendar year almost.
Yeah. No home wins. Bad. There's some bad football. The slate this week, the NFL just tweeted out, and there's 13 games, and only 4 of them are good. 4 out of 13.
Last week was the first like really awesome week of the season, in my opinion, league wide, and apparently we can't have that 2 weeks in a row.
There's less than 30% of the games are good matchups. Where like
they aren't.
That's only the good matchups I'm saying where both of the teams are like good.
They aren't flexing a Monday Night Football. I don't know if you saw this. I think it's maybe it's Sunday night. I'm not sure, but I'm trying to think who has the rights to that. Maybe it's a Sunday evening game. But between the Bengals and the Cowboys, they aren't flexing it till a 1 p.m. because they're doing some Simpsons holographic reimagining of the game, and all of the graphics packages are already made. So
okay, you can't just change it to like an S or
can't
I don't know.
Can't pivot apparently. So that's where we're at.
That's crazy. I have. Well, what else do you got? I have a question for you.
I just want to react to what you have.
There's the TNT and ESPN trade.
Yeah.
Which ESPN is now taking over
inside the NBA.
Inside the NBA, and TNT now has like 12. What was it? 12 college football games.
It was something like a bunch of Big 10 games and a bunch of Big 12 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which clearly that's just like whatever because they weren't going to keep it anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely big money for TNT. Like
it's definitely better than nothing, but like compared to what Inside the NBA brings in.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what the dollar amount of that is.
I think some random Big 12 games are not going to bring in that much money.
I think it's a great trade for ESPN, obviously, but I wonder if it was like we're gonna get 30 cents on the dollar. Let's make sure it's 30 cents and not zero.
I agree. Yeah,
has TNT ever had college football? I don't know.
I don't know either. If ESPN brings on Stephen A. Smith or changes the show in any way, I'm gonna be so mad.
Yeah, no.
So mad.
That can't happen. Their basketball coverage is so bad. And so I really hope that they just don't fucking touch this group, obviously. Now we'll have them for the finals. And that's really cool. We'd have them for the draft as well, which would be really cool because the draft coverage is so bad. So I don't know. Chuck said and Ernie said they'll never work for another network. So I don't really know. And again, that was not a final report. That was a leaked report. So it'll be interesting to see. It honestly is the first thing I thought of was like, that's something that like me and you would like come up with would be like, why doesn't ESPN just like trade
Traded.
like a bunch of their college football games or something, and they
Yeah.
just did it. It's one of
Yeah.
those things like always reminds me of like oh, big business. It's this thing. It's really just dudes like people like just running. This happened to be a dude at ESPN, Jimmy
Yeah.
Pitaro, just like running it, and he's like picking up the phone, like, would you? What if we just gave you a bunch of college football games? And he's like, okay.
They're gonna do
You
like
know?
draft day and somehow get inside the NBA back.
Right.
TNT's gonna like finesse.
And we also have the college football playoff now somehow.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, call it like the college football, like the NCAA is like, I didn't make a deal with any of you.
Any of you. And TNT is just a powerhouse.
I know. How is that going to work? Like, if I'm the NCAA, or am I like, okay,
Yeah.
what?
Now TNT comes to all. Yeah. Whatever.
Apparently, TNT is broadcasting my games. So that's not what I. Agree.
Apparently, just the TV broadcasters just control the entire sports world now.
Yes, they do. Yep. Give everything
So
to Netflix. They handled that fight so well.
You're really that Fortnite thing we've talked about is really not crazy with like the free thing, but also they're just playing back the old seasons and they're awesome.
Yeah.
Like they're getting so much more plays. Like I've been playing Fortnite with my brother because they brought it back to what it was like 7 years ago, and it's so much fun.
And
why doesn't SportsCenter, who no one watches now, be like, we're just going to bring back what it was 20 years ago and actually play the top 10 plays, do all the same segments. Like, that's all the people want. That's all we want.
Just do the good stuff. Just do the good stuff.
Keep doing the stuff that we liked.
Who's going to play Wolverine? How about Hugh Jackman still?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perfect. Works.
I know.
Works.
I had two other quick things. I want to shout out Arizona State football. We didn't talk about this with Gecse. Big game. They are still alive for the playoff.
That's nuts.
Have 2 losses. They're playing BYU this week at home, I believe. Really big game. So upset watch. They win. They're probably playing Colorado in the championship.
Damn.
And then you win, you get in. So
Damn.
their over under on wins was 3.5, and they're 8-2 right now.
The coach is awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Coach is awesome. On a college football coach point, basketball, the new-ish Louisville coach. I know he's like relatively new. I don't know if this is his first year, but I saw a video of him. He's just walking around campus, being like, "Come to the game." He's like, "You come to the game? Let's go to the game." He just for like 20 minutes. He was just walking around. He was awesome, just like a ball of energy. It was sick. That's great. That's what you need if you're a college campus. A bunch of people were like, "Can we take pictures?" He was like, "Fuck yes, yes."
That was like the Coastal Carolina football coach like did the pregame thing literally right before the game with it was like Matt Berry or something on a Thursday night, and he like shotgunned a beer.
Yeah, that's what you need.
In front of the whole crowd. Everyone loved
Dan
it.
Campbell, the era, like the Dan Campbell era of like just dudes is really exciting to see. I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, so Arizona State. My only other thing is we talked about fantasy football and how we're both out. I think we're going to quit next year.
I think I'm done.
My thing is, if I somehow come in at least second place in our league, then I've made money in the last 2 years. So it's like
true,
not crazy. True. And also here, this is I'll try and get this done before we post this, but I think I'm going to trade Jamar Chase.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't even like. I can't say that's good or bad. I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about anything. I'm horrible at fantasy football. Apparently.
Yeah, I'm not coming to you for advice. That's for sure.
Do not.
Yeah. Well, we're just so out because, I mean, it's just every week is so stressful for no reason. It's so
stressful, and I'm like, I hate the whole like I think I'm smart, and then I'm like, no, every week I'm told I'm stupid, and it's like,
yeah, but it's also you're not smart. Like if I told you. Like there's projections you're basing yourself being smart off of. It's like people are telling me he's going to be this, and I'm smart because I'm going to listen. But in reality, like that's not the case.
No.
Like,
I
don't know. It's impossible. And also, people just have bad weeks.
I know.
It's the same thing as betting. Like it never.
I can't deal with the whole like leaving people on my bench stuff. I'm like, oh my god.
I sat Brock Bowers this week and lost and ended my season. He had 31 points, most ever catches by a rookie tight end.
Yeah, second most catches in the league, behind another Quinn fantasy team member, Jamar Chase.
Yeah, I think I'm going to trade him, dude, because like he's coming off that 55-point game, like 30 points the week after.
I'll take him.
But I'll trade him, dude, if you want him.
You want CeeDee Lamb?
No.
No. Worth a shot.
I mean, they have like a 9% chance to make the playoffs, I think. If they lose another game, they're out. And they've been talking shit in the locker room. Like, I just feel like
it's
without
bad.
playoff implications, and they're
Yeah.
not, I don't know if come playoff time if he's going to be available.
Yeah. I mean, I'm firing the coach. I got to fire my coach, I think.
Yeah, you.
So much points on the bench. So much points. So many points on the bench. Oh, bad. Can't happen. Gonna Jim Montgomery him. I might bring in Jim Montgomery. Regular season, at least. I'll get in the dance. You know I'll get in the dance.
My only other note is, which I talked about earlier, and we can get into this at a totally later time. It's just been on my brain. Steve Nash deserved both those MVPs.
Okay. Break it down.
I was watching some old stuff. I know you're probably not ready to debate full,
I'm
but
not, but I'll hear your opening argument.
No, he was just. There's no argument. Like until you counter argument me, then I counter argument you. There's no argument because he won them and deserved them.
Kobe the second.
Kobe, what?
The 06 year, right?
Yeah, the 06 year, they were the 7th seed in a competitive Western Conference, and the Suns, I believe, had the best record in the NBA, led by the most efficient player in the league, Steve Nash. So
7-second offense or whatever.
It's tough. It's tough to be like Kobe just because he scored 33. They were the 7 seed, and yeah.
So like, how much did Amari average on that team? 24 and 12.
Yeah, but I mean, Steve Nash's first MVP, Amari didn't play.
Oh,
was hurt the whole year, and they were the 2nd seed in the West with that's like Spurs, Mavericks, like the super competitive West. So that's fair enough why he deserves that.
Yeah.
And the next year, then he came back and they won the most games in the league. And he was like still 50, 40, 90 club, averaged 18.5 points and like 12 assists and shot super efficiently. So,
18 and 12, huh?
Yeah, but if you think about it, 12 assists accounts for another 25 points.
Yeah, I think it's still crazy. 7 seed is tough, though. 7 seed is hard to beat. Like, hard to argue.
You could argue it could go to like Dirk because he brought them, and he didn't have a ton of like great teammates, but
he was nasty. That was the year
Dirk was nasty. Yeah,
they made it to the finals, right? Yeah. I'll think about that. I
got arguments, so we can talk about it. I just love Steve Nash, so I want to defend my boy.
He is really cool.
Everyone just writes it off that he didn't deserve those, but
yeah. I know. I shouldn't write it off because I'm not educated and I need to go back there.
I also am not educated on the whole story either. I just been watching Steve Nash highlights.
Yeah, he's awesome. But he'd be a good this era basketball player. He'd do well on social media.
Also, the 2006 year, Kobe had rape allegations.
Yeah, so not everyone was reaching to give him an MVP award.
An award. Yeah. And no awards for Kobe that year. And he was the 7th seed. So
I can't get over the 7th seed.
And the year before in the playoffs, Steve Nash single-handedly beat the Lakers.
Oh, really?
Outplayed them. Yeah, they just outplayed Kobe.
And then what was the this year? Was that 06? I don't know when that was, to be honest. Might have been that year. Might have been 06, but that doesn't matter. That's postseason. Okay. That's all I have.
All right, man. What else? Yeah, nothing else. Who the Pats got this week? The Dolphins?
It's almost Thanksgiving. That seems right. You convinced me that it was a bye last week, which was not correct. Not correct.
Yeah.
Not correct.
When am I correct? I feel like we haven't had our bye yet, though.
I kind of think we did.
Okay.
But once again, I don't know.
It's not like this is our.
It's not like this is a job or anything.
What we do.
Patriots do play the Dolphins, so boom, you're right. Thanksgiving is late this year, huh?
Yeah, last week. I had a thought in the shower today that like someone would comment on one of our videos and be like, "Oh, these kids like don't know shit like about Boston sports. Like, why are they the ones that with the podcast?"
Yeah.
And my analogy was like, well, like the smartest guy, like the best guy for the job isn't the president. But then I realized that's equating us to Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So
true.
I kind of, mentally shot that one down.
Maybe accurate, though, in reality. Maybe we're Dan Campbell.
Maybe we're just the guys that are going to do the job.
How about you do it? You make a podcast.
That's what they don't want it. The smartest guys don't want to be president. The smartest sports people don't want the podcast because they're all fucking nerds.
Exactly. We're the first. So on that note,
goodbye. Love and happiness.
We're 2-2.
We're 2-2.
I mean, this guy is great. I mean,
we should try and get him on the pod.
It's Skip. His calls with Skip. He is taking over the internet. Barstool needs to hire that guy. Maybe the Wagon will hire him. Yeah, we're 2-2.
They should just hire him and have him stand in their like studio with all the TVs.
Oh, yes.
And like while you're watching baseball games, just turn the music, like all the audio all the way down, and just have him announce it.
He'll do it. Live stream. We're 2-2. Green screen.
I love the ones that are just 7 seconds.
He's the best. Yeah.
Like, safe. You're off the bag.
That's it. I love when he cleans the bag. I love when he cleans the imaginary bag. It's so
cleans home plate.
It's so good. I love that. So great.
Yeah.
So great. I love the
no one's gonna know what we're talking about
from the side too. Oh, it's so good.
All right, let's get out of here.
All right. It's been the same all day.
All right. We're back. Hey. College Football Insider Andrew Gecse is back once again. The week 13?
12?
Right? No, it's NFL week 12. Like I think it's 13 or 12.
Yeah.
AP poll just dropped. College football playoff pictures heating up. It's getting intense. People are getting upset. Indiana sucks, but they're undefeated. They're going to beat Ohio State. That's what I'm hoping for. That's literally the only thing. It would just be – I'm hoping for maximum chaos.
It would make it easier.
It would make it easier. It would make it easier. But people would be upset. I want instant reactions. I have a thought. It just occurred like 5 minutes before we started recording on how like we could kind of solve this problem of being like the SEC is in the Big Ten, whatever. So remind me to just throw that at you. I haven't had time to really think about it, so it could be really dumb. But
I made a note. Of it.
Okay, we'll get into it later. Go ahead. Instant reactions of the AP Top 25.
It's the playoff rankings came out tonight.
Oh, okay.
The AP. So my first reaction was like, what are they looking for? Yeah. So the first thing that came to my mind was, what are they looking for? Are they looking at record primarily, strength of schedule, strength of resume? And then Reese Davis actually asked the chairman, like, are you looking at more metrics or are you watching the games? And the chairman had the audacity to say, we're watching film. You're not.
Ooh.
You're not. You're not. Because if that's the case, Miami wouldn't be in front of Georgia and Ole Miss, because I think we all agree that Miami and Georgia are 2 touchdowns better than Georgia and Ole Miss are 2 touchdowns better than Miami.
Yeah.
I just see too many inconsistencies in the rankings. Like if they want to go off record, why is Penn State ahead of Indiana and why is Army not in the playoffs? Because Army and them are undefeated. So it's like I don't get that one. And then like say it isn't off record and it's off head to head. Why is BYU behind SMU? They beat SMU. They have the same record. Like what are we doing there? And then like the consistent or inconsistent with teams losing and then being ranked after. Like Georgia loses to Ole Miss and they drop 11 spots maybe. Tennessee loses to Georgia. They drop 3, 4. Like what?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I noticed this week, Missouri lost to South Carolina. They didn't drop at all. Same ranking. So it was like, what? And I don't know that. And then you look at the 3, 4, and 5 teams in the country right now, Texas, Penn State, and Indiana. The best win out of them combined at Vanderbilt.
Which is a tough game for some teams.
Yeah, right.
It's true.
Actually, that's a great win. You want that to be the best win of the best win it could be.
It's such an awesome win. That is nuts, though. That's
and kind of a hot take here. I am out on the Group of 5 team getting an automatic bid in the playoff. Give me the 12 best teams, not the 12 most deserving or whatever you want to do. Give me the 12 best. I think the rankings this year are them overcompensating for what they did last year to Florida State. Because now they're doing the most deserving, not the 12 best.
But wasn't this in play well before that?
Yeah, but like the rankings wise, I don't know.
I agree with the Power 5 thing, and I feel like that's also because we're in the first year of this 12-team playoff thing. I think they'll hopefully sort it out.
Probably the last. Yeah, I think they're going to go up to 14 like next year. because this is insane.
Yeah. What's tough about the group of 5 thing is like it's so fun in theory, but we've had a version of
It's
this.
a participation trophy at this point.
Yes, and we've had a version of this before where it's like Connor Cook and Michigan State get the 4 seed. Washington, all those years ago, not Michael Penix Washington, gets the 4 seed. Cincinnati gets the 4 seed. And it's like really fun. That's awesome. And they get fucking boat raced every time. And the game is not entertaining. Like, what was that Michigan State game? They played Bama, right? Wasn't it like
38-0?
Yeah. Like what? Like that. That's probably what we're going to see here. Now, the
especially if they play Ohio State.
Right.
I mean, they're going to have to go to Ohio State. They're going to be like 30-point dogs. Like the thing.
Right.
That's what it was. I think the imaginary line made was like 20.5 or 21.
Yeah. Now, the counterpoint is that Boise State played Oregon and almost won. So it's like, maybe I'm wrong, and I would love to be wrong. But I think a lot of pressure is going to be on this first year. Like if Boise State goes into Ohio State or whatever it ends up being, and is like
right now
really competitive, I think it's a really awesome game in Ashton Genty.
Indiana,
awesome. Then right now it's Indiana, but so that's kind of
right.
That's kind of
awesome. Right now, Boise State would have a bye.
No, I don't think. I think they're automatically the 12.
No, they showed it in the bracket. Right now, they would have a bye because they're one of the 4 highest ranked conference champions.
Oh my god!
In the bracket, it has.
Oh yeah, you're right. They're the projected number 4 seed.
Yeah, which is insane.
That is insane. So wild. That's so.
They need to. So next year, when they go to the 14-team playoff, they need to switch it to the buys are the 4 best teams, not the 4 conference championship. Because if fucking slapdick Colorado gets a bye and like Georgia has to go on the road at Penn State, you tell me that that's fair?
Yeah.
Like, or Penn State has to go to Georgia, like. Penn State's too.
All these ideas were like cool in theory, and we all were like, "Ooh, that sounds good." It's almost immediately in practice, like probably not the best way to go about.
Also, how is if BYU has 1 loss and wins the Big 12, they're the 12 seed, but if Boise State has 1 loss and wins whatever the Mountain West, whatever it is, how are they the 4 seed? What is that about?
Exactly. So many inconsistencies in the playoff rankings. Like this is my favorite one actually. So they were showing like good wins and losses. Texas, good win at Arkansas. Tennessee, bad loss at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like that? Like what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like you can't have that. They have like they're making it known that if you schedule cupcakes but win your games, perfectly fine. Like
Indiana.
Yeah, exactly. They have played the easiest schedule in all of Power 4. 106 out of 106. It's insane. And then the whole narrative this week now is like, well, if they play Ohio State close, do they deserve to be in? It's like, what? That's bullshit. You're going to leave, like, say Indiana gets blown out by Ohio State and gets in instead of like a 2-loss Texas A&M or shit. I think a 3-loss South Carolina team beats Indiana by 21. Like,
I also think like playing them. I don't know. Like playing them close and losing?
That's a crazy statement. Oh, well, if they play whatever Ohio State close, they should be in. That shouldn't even be a case. Like, that shouldn't be an argument.
If they had one good win, I would say yes.
Yeah, and they don't.
But they don't.
Who is it? Yeah. Michigan by 5 points at home? It's like,
what? To be fair, I was thinking about that. To be fair to them, preseason, they were playing the defending champion Michigan as like a team that was terrible last year. They scheduled Michigan and then Ohio State the next week. Like, to be fair to them, they weren't expecting this Michigan team, and they took care of business. So, like, it's not like preseason Michigan was ranked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I get that. But, like, when you don't play one of the top 7 teams in your own conference.
Yeah, that's wild.
Oh, yeah.
So wild.
Yeah.
If they go out and get boat raced by Ohio State, they should not be in the playoff.
Agree. Agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Ohio State just lost their center.
Oh, really? Seth McLaughlin?
I think he tore his ACL in practice. I just saw something about that.
Good.
But I've been like wrong on 3 things already, and we've been talking for 5 minutes. So.
Like that, I just want to know like what their criteria is, because we are trying to crown the best football team in college football. I think a team that can win the national championship is going to be left out. And you can call it SEC bias or whatever. But and everybody's saying this year, like, oh, the SEC's down. They don't have a great team. I think all of the SEC teams that have 2 losses are pretty good and might be great. Like, what team is going to line up and go play Tennessee right now who's not even in the playoffs? I wouldn't want to play them. Kidding me? That D-line, Dylan Sampson, Nico, if they can get healthy, they have elite wide receivers. That offensive scheme is so hard to stop. There's been one team in college football that's been able to stop it consistently, and it's Georgia. So it's like,
Gase, what do you do if A&M beats Texas?
Then we'll play Texas A&M.
No, but like, is Texas out?
Oh yeah, they're done. They're the Indiana of the SEC right now. Like, they have, again, their best win is Vanderbilt, which again, it's kind of a tough place to play. Neither here nor there. But like, if they lose another game, and I think if they lose another regular season game, they shouldn't be in it. That's the other thing that like is going to have to be brought up. Say Alabama plays whatever. Alabama plays Texas in the SEC championship. Hypothetical. They lose Alabama. So 10-3. You going to put a 10-3 Alabama team in who played in their conference championship, or are you going to put 1-loss Indiana in?
Yeah.
They probably put Indiana.
Yeah, which is crazy because if you line up and play them on a neutral site, Bama by 20.
Shouldn't have lost to Vandy.
Well, again, somebody's going to get punished for playing in their conference championship. Like, say Ohio State beats Indiana, goes and plays Oregon, loses again. You going to put 2-loss Ohio State in or 1-loss Indiana?
Oh.
So are you going to punish these guys? Are you going to punish
Indiana though?
Playing?
It's tough to punish Indiana for taking care of business.
But if you lose to Ohio State, you're not taking care of business. It's the one tough game on your schedule.
And it's going to be Florida State 2.0 if Indiana doesn't get in. You know,
that's why.
But
yeah,
I mean, like,
Ole Miss loses to Kentucky. That's not taking care of business. Like,
yeah, but they're not going to be punished for playing in the SEC championship because they won't be in it. So, like, what I'm saying is,
like, versus Indiana, I don't know.
I know, but are you going to punish these teams for making their conference championship and then losing?
I know, true. That's a good
point. I think I heard something preseason that they weren't going to do that.
Like, Lane Kiffin has said in his press conference that SEC teams are hoping they don't get into that game because then it'll affect their playoffs.
Yeah. Damn.
Like A&M, like, we could get whatever, A&M. Same thing with Texas. Say Texas loses, they beat A&M, but loses to Alabama in the SEC championship or loses to Georgia in the SEC championship. Are you going to put 1-loss Indiana or 2-loss Texas? It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Again, but it goes back to the same thing. All right, do we want the most deserving or do we want the 12 best?
No, I mean, if it was the 4 team last year, they wouldn't take Indiana.
I think it'd be Indiana this year. I think it would be. I really do. I think Indiana.
Yes, because this committee has gone on. They haven't gone on the record to say it, but they've shown it. Playing hard games don't matter as long as you win your games. Mm-hmm. So, like, Georgia should have never scheduled whatever Clemson at the beginning of the year.
Georgia should just join the ACC.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what somebody asked Kirby about this today. He's like, going forward, knowing what you have seen from this committee, are you going to stop scheduling it? And he was like, well, no, I'm going to keep scheduling for our fans.
See, that's what's tough is like they're setting a precedent and I forget the word. Like, they're setting a precedent of like we shouldn't play awesome games. Like, we shouldn't get the Texas versus Georgias, and we shouldn't. So that's dangerous.
Texas and Notre Dame just scheduled like a home and home. Why? It doesn't benefit either of you guys. Schedule fucking Northern Illinois. Touchy subject for them. But if you're Texas, schedule that. Like Alabama plays like Ohio State in a home and home coming up. They play, again, Florida State's kind of in the dumpster fire. But at the time when they scheduled it, it was good. They also play Notre Dame too. It's like a ton of these teams have like great games for home and homes coming up. Cancel them all. Schedule Mercer. Schedule Middle Tennessee State. Go undefeated. You'll be in.
It's dangerous. That is a dangerous precedent set by.
Especially with this 14-teamer thing now. It's like, like Miami. Like, what?
They need to develop some type of fucking like mathematical, and I know they used to have it for like the BCS computer rankings and
BCS, yeah.
stuff, but like they need to develop more of that so there's actual
Mhm.
math that goes into like the
Win.
losses, wins and losses,
Yeah.
like both. It's like how much should a win really count for
Yeah,
against
weight
this
it
team?
differently.
Like I
All
think
right,
that's
do you
probably.
want to hear my theoretical I came up with?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's don't be mean to me because I haven't really thought this through.
Got it.
What if the regular season looked like the first 6 weeks even, all the Power Four teams play, like Indiana plays 2 SEC teams, 2 Big 12 teams, 2 ACC teams, and then you go into your conference play. Like everyone from each Power Four plays all the other Power Four, like 2 teams from each other conference. So then you can see how the conferences stack up against each other, and then you play other good competition instead of Alabama playing the school for the blind week 1. Like those are just random games to stack your record. What if you actually played 2 ACC teams? They'd blow them out still probably, and then you know that you're better than the ACC.
I don't think you could get every team to agree to that. That's the only issue.
Who gives a fuck? It should be like, then don't be in the ACC. Go join Mountain West. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I know.
But in a fantasy land, I do think that would be a pretty sweet.
Yeah, what I
because then you see them match up in Indiana. You don't have to go play the top dogs in the Big Ten or not the Big Ten. The Big top, like you could play the worst teams in the SEC, but if you lose those games, then you know. And everyone's saying that the depth of the SEC is way better than most of the teams in any other conference.
It's unbelievable.
But if like say like the worst teams in the SEC go out and lose a game or two to the ACC, then it's like, well, what are we doing?
Yeah,
and then you can have a really accurate kind of like weighing the losses a bit more when it comes to conferences, at least.
Yeah. And then you go to your conference play and see who's maybe you still give the conference bye, and then you know who has the best record. Like,
see, that's tough because playing in the SEC is so much harder than playing in every other conference, especially this year. Like it seems like any team can beat anybody, and you can call it SEC bias. But like the ACC is 9-9, versus other power conferences. The ACC is 9-9, Big 12 is 5-9, Big 10 7-9, and the SEC is 10-5. So it's there's some good wins in those 10 wins. It's not like we're going out and beating like Washington or UCLA, which we did. I mean, Georgia beat one of the best teams in the ACC by 30 points. So it's and then Oregon goes on the road to last week, struggles versus Wisconsin. Alabama went in there and beat them by 35. So it's like, I just need more consistency in what they're telling us. And I just want to know, what are the metrics or what are they going off? Like, say that.
Film is crazy.
The audacity to say that.
Yeah.
The audacity on them to say that is absolutely crazy. Because if you were going to rank these teams based on film,
I like Indiana's players better than Georgia's players.
Yeah, that is insane. Like, I think if you were to rank them on film, which I watch a ton of college football and I know what's going on, I would rank them as Oregon, Ohio State, Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Penn State, Miami, Indiana, Notre Dame, Boise State, Colorado. That would be my 12.
Who's the top 5?
I thought you said you didn't want Boise State in there.
You have to have them in there because they're the group of 5. Oregon, Ohio State, Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama is the top 5.
I can get behind that ranking.
That's what blows my mind is that Texas, Penn State, Indiana, their best win combined is Vanderbilt by 3 points.
That's wild. I think
in a game which Vanderbilt probably should have won. They had the ball twice to go score.
College football needs a commissioner, and we have a guy for that job. Would you do that
Nick
job?
Saban. No.
You don't think so?
No. I don't think there's a amount of dollars that you could put on there. You're like the most hated man in sports. It's
very humble of you. Yeah, very humble of you.
Which I don't. Again, they have to actually. There is a commissioner in college football. You want to know his name? His name's Greg Sankey.
Okay.
He's the SEC commissioner.
Sorry.
That's right there. That's why you wouldn't get the job. Bias.
Right. You're biased. Yeah.
Is it really biased when you're right, though? Like, who wants to play the SEC? Nobody.
True. All right.
Like,
No, it is bias when you're right, because that's like saying you like the best like student in your class. If you're a teacher, you like the best student in your class because he's smarter.
Mm-hmm.
Like you like him
I'm
more
just
than all
saying,
the
like,
other kids.
like these guys aren't
No
like these
child
other
left
like the Big Ten isn't lining up to schedule at the SEC. They're not.
All right.
I know, but soon enough, this is going to become one giant college football thing, and that's what I'm saying.
It's going to be a super
Everyone
league.
should have to
And
play
I think they've
everyone.
already
Like-
discussed it. They've
Yeah.
already discussed it as like a super league, and that's what you have to do because now you have the transfer portal, which is free agency. You have NIL, which is contracts. It only makes sense, and it's kind of it might suck, to be honest with you. Like
I think my idea was actually pretty sweet.
It's a good
They
idea.
need to do like some sort of challenge where you have to play like. I don't know how you could rank up opponent that is like
Yeah.
equal to you. Like,
Yeah.
but like the hoops does it perfectly with the Big Ten SEC challenge. Like we play
Yeah.
UNC, Auburn plays whoever, Duke maybe, I don't know. Like you have to find like a metric or something to line it up. So like Alabama would play Ohio State, Georgia plays Oregon, Ole Miss gets Penn State. Like, and again, we might see that come the playoffs, and I hope we do because I have faith that the SEC will back up everything that I just said. Because I think
All right.
I think South Carolina getting left out of this is going to suck because I honestly think they can compete better than some of these other teams for a national championship.
They've been great. They've been really fun all year, especially going in there. I don't want to go in there.
Exactly. I don't want to play them, period.
Yeah.
North Sellers threw for 5 touchdowns last week versus a pretty good Missouri defense. Like, where did that come from? They run the ball great, and nobody gets after the passer like they do.
Yeah, they have that.
They got weapons on the outside. Their safeties are great. Like, I would not want to play them right now. And if you think about it, they got 3 losses: Ole Miss, Alabama, and LSU. And they should have won that LSU game had Lenore Sellers not gotten hurt. So if you throw them in there, like, I think they're a better team than Colorado, Boise State, Indiana. I think they would beat Miami. Notre Dame, I think, is a good game.
Maybe Boise State goes on a run. All right, we're out of time. Any more things burning that you want to get off your chest? Do we hit them all?
I want to say I love the playoff because these debates are so much fun.
I love them.
All the hypotheticals are amazing. Like no one would be talking about Indiana if it was last year. I mean, they would because they're still undefeated, but like they're going to lose to Ohio State, and then no one would care.
Yep.
Again, if they win, it makes everything easier.
True, because then they're really good. All right.
Like last year, no one would even be talking about Bama.
True.
Yeah. Well,
No.
they go and win
2
the
losses.
SEC championship. I
SEC
know.
championship.
Nobody was really talking about it last year, and then they beat Georgia in that SEC championship, jumped Florida.
I know, but there's 2 undefeated teams and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with 1 loss.
I know, but a 2-loss. Again, they jumped a team that was undefeated last year, and they had a loss. So I honestly think this year's committee is overcompensating for what happened last year. Because now it's like, oh, well, now record's important when it wasn't last year.
Yep.
But to go back to
They made the right choice last year, though, which sucked.
Yes, they very much did. Because they watched the film, apparently.
Yeah, they watched the film. And I bet they watched that Georgia-Florida State game where half their team sat out.
Oh, everybody watched that game because it was like, yeah, eat shit, Florida State. They're in the
Oh, I have a question. When are these games happening? And is the second round the bowl games?
The first question, I don't know the days, but I know that they nailed it as far as like the schedule.
Because what happens is the New Year's 6 still happening?
Yeah, yes, I believe so. I believe it's I think the New Year's 6 is all playoff games now.
Is the first
That
round?
might be wrong. No,
It should
I
be.
think it's the second round. I think it's the second round because the second round we still have what? 12, 4. Yeah, 4, then the semifinals, and then the finals. I know it's way later this year though. Like it finishes way later, like February maybe.
Okay, so it's on that end of things. Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
They should bump the Super Bowl back a week so they have President's Day, the day off, the Monday, which I think they're going to because they're going to add a week.
I know they nailed the dates though, like Clint said.
Sweet. All right, thanks for joining us.
Championship weekend is 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. So then the rankings come out that Sunday.
Interesting.
I will be at a championship weekend game.
So maybe it is the first round. That's the New Year's 6.
Yeah, maybe. I
mean, it was before.
Yeah.
It's incredible how
that's
long
perfect.
the gap is.
I know. That's one of my favorite
That's-
days in sports.
You have to have college football on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. That is meaningful college football.
Yep.
They nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, how awesome was that to watch the ball drop and then the Ohio State kicker fucking hoodwink it? That was awesome. That? I was at the Harrington's house.
All right. What
I think it was quiet there because
do they have two? Do they maybe structure it like half of them are on New Year's Eve, half of them are on New Year's Day? Maybe that's
that would make sense because the Rose Bowl is always going to be New Year's Day, and I know that's a playoff game.
Yeah, that's probably how they did it. All right, cool.
You have to, that again. They nailed it last year. That was perfect because you had like an all-out dogfight on the Rose Bowl, and then the night game was just bombs over Baghdad.
So sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
All right. No problem. Thanks for having me. That was fun.